In July of 2020, a United Airlines 787-10 had a near miss in Paris when ATC cleared the aircraft to land on an occupied runway. At the time, the runway assigned for landing, 09 right, was already occupied by an easyJet A320 on its way to Spain. More than a year has passed since the incident, and French investigators have released their final 14-page report with conclusions and probable causes on the potentially disastrous incident. France's Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety's report on the incident retells the series of events on July 19, 2020, stating that ATC had given the United 787 clearance to land on runway 09 right, despite the aircraft being on ILS approach on runway 09 left. On that day, landings were assigned to runway 09 left, while takeoffs on runway 09 right. With this assigned clearance and seemingly wrong instruction, the crew, wishing to dispel doubt on the authorization, read back the landing clearance by adding the specific phrases "understand" and "sidestep" for 9 right, while also waiting for a possible correction of the clearance by the controller. However, the controller did not check the crew's readings, and the aircraft continued towards 09 right instead of 09 left. According to the Aviation Herald, the BEA report, translated from French, offered the following points as probable causes of the serious incident. 1. A mental slip by the air traffic controller when clearing the 787 to land on an occupied runway. This was made worse with the readback by the 787 crew not being verified. 2. The traffic management at that moment was mainly on runway 09 right, which had 1 landing, 2 departures, and 2 runway crossings. 3. The controller's concern with their change of position in the tower from local northwest to local northeast. 4. The controller's lack of practice connected to the decrease in traffic during the COVID-19 crisis period. And 5. The use of the non-standard expression "understand" by the flight crew rather than "confirm," which would have attracted more attention from the controller. With regards to the third point and the change in position, the BEA briefly noted that the screen of the local northwest control position in the North Control Tower could not be turned on. This is how the situation was described in the report. The controller indicated that she took up her post in the North Tower of the airport at 4:30 a.m. on the day of the occurrence, and that she was in the LOC northeast position. Usually for the east-facing configuration, the LOC northwest position is used. The control screen in the LOC northwest position was off and appeared, according to the controllers, to be out of order. The report goes on to say that this was the first day the North Tower opened after 2 weeks of closure, following exclusive use of the South Runway pair controlled from the South Tower and Central Tower. During this period, the screen was turned off by its main switch, which is different from what controllers would do on a daily basis. In fact, the main switch is, quote, located in a place that's not easily accessible to them, with the report stating that controllers were not aware of this master switch. With the controller in the northeast position, facing the holding points of runway 27 left, she did not have direct visual contact with the thresholds of runways 09 from her position in the control tower. Therefore, it looks like human error was undoubtedly the most significant factor in this potentially disastrous incident. While the majority of responsibility can be put on the controller, we can see that a number of factors contributed to the situation, putting them in a worse position that increased the likelihood of error. With these findings released, what are your thoughts on the incident? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe before you go.